I'm James Martin, and this is my story about how I ended up in Australia. England, 1785. My dad has been locked into stocks. Many people are pelting mud at his face. Miss Brown says that it's not my fault that Pa is a thief. But I know that he was not, because he had to get food for our family, for we had nothing to eat. Now she has offered me to stay at her place. But I don't want to, because Ben has thrown mud at Pa's face. Now all I want to do is wipe Pa's face and give him food. I always knew Ben, the son of Miss Brown, would cause trouble, and I always thought of getting him and his friends back, but I never could, since I was accused and whipped. London, February 1787. I'm so relieved that the judge hasn't decided to hang me. Now I have been chained with the others, and I've been put with people who are older than me, but not too old. I'm scared, and the chains are bruising my wrist, ankle, and neck. I was caught stealing money and a handkerchief, but I had to do it for my basic survival, because Pa was gone and there was no one to help me there. The air felt hotter than ever, as if it was too hot to set sail. The water was scarce and rationed to 4 drinks per day. At least there was fresh air that we could breathe, and we were let out on the cabins from the deck of the ship. Third day in the doldrums. I helped Sam up from the below and did morning exercise. Just as he got out, I saw him dragging himself to the rail. Then he dropped weakly with a sign of refreshment. Then breathed all in that fresh air that he had been waiting for below. He was in a horrible situation, with his stained and blistered feet, and I knew why he had pinkish eyes. It was from the smelly and thick air that the vicious bites of lice and cockroaches. But then I thought up here we will at least be sunlight and sharp smell of the salty waters. I then looked over to the other side of the Jack. Jack is usually there most days. He was a quiet boy and is mostly happy when he is left alone. Mostly he was found sketching or reading from his pad, but I wonder what there was to sketch. For the seagulls had gone, and even the clouds. Rio. The intelligent Sam was right. The high winds blew again in 4 days, just as he said so, on the first day, so he reached the southeast trades now. The mini boats sped through the waters as if it was just hovering. Just another week of hot air and we'll reach Rio. I'm so excited, for I thought that we'll reach land at last. But as always, no one shows mercy to the convicts, so we were forced to stay inside the horrible ship. We were to stay in prison for another month, while the captain and the members of the ship went exploring and restocked his food and personal items. The horrible darkness was unbearable, but the food was totally incredible, which was much better than England's. So I got so much fresh meat that I felt like even more than I've ever had in my whole entire life. But that was not all. We got so much different types of oranges. And that was even better because I only got oranges on Christmas when Pa gave me a month of treats. My favorite type of oranges had bright fruit that exploded when they squashed hard. We got 10 of these a day. I kept the yellow skin to eat months later when I had nothing to eat at all. Sadly, Sam wasn't feeling so engaged with the food as I was. He said that it stung and stained his gums, so I could eat his share. Luckily, Sam ate all the other squishy fruit called goobers that I had never seen, tasted, or heard before. It smelled of flowers and many confusing smells. The many confusing smells pointed out how far we had traveled from England. The world then was different, even the languages. I heard the natives yelling at the sailors because their boats were slamming against the small canoes, and sometimes when they do so, I could either stop or the man himself slip and splash into the waters of Rio. I could also hear the natives trading and selling food to the captain and his crew. I could also smell the sweet land that I could never see, despite of having to sleep with the other convicts. Our next stop was in Cape Town. Then we had to sail so far and wide across the whole of Indian Ocean to the Southern Ocean, and at last to the Pacific. Then we reached Botany Bay. The good news was that there was a quick cross to Cape Town, and it only took a month. Now for the bad news. The crewmen were drunk and whipped way too often because of the cheap alcohol that they bought from Rio. Cape Town was better for it was cooler and much more comfortable. And again, we got given many types of food. Sam's gums were way too delicate to eat vegetables, but were strong enough to eat the drenched bread. The weather grew hot, for we had entered into the warm atmosphere. Now we are crowded in a small place because the captain has loaded at least 500 official animals to take to the new colony. It was not fair to see the pigs and the other animals getting fed and washed while we suffered. Australia, 15th of April, 1887. One day is a day of freedom. We had just landed in this unusual country. The magnificent harbour that we have anchored in is very unusual. The towering platforms of rock and screeching, eye-catching birds that fly around the dull trees. The blue stretched-out sky is blank and full of the birds that are very unlike England's. The legend said that there are large rats. It is said that they use their fatty tail to balance themselves so that they don't fall, and it is said that they use their legs to hop around. I thought my service had come to an end, but no, that was not how it goes. My horrors hasn't ended. I thought it would be, but now the captain has ordered that we must work to build up the new colony. I hopefully wouldn't be put to work with the older people to work and make the roads and do all the hard work that the man would do. But luckily, the captain showed pity on me and let me live and work with a man called David Mallory. But I had to be alert because he can kick me out of his house and I will lose a deal with the captain. So I had to work hard to help the man, for if I do so, I shall be happier than the people without houses to stay in. Another incredible thing that the captain did was that he let Sam have a treatment and only made him do 6 hours of work in the sun. This allowed him to seek better treatment, so he can be cured from a skin disease that he got on the ship. But sadly, I didn't see him again since I was on the ship. Now, I'm put with this guy, and I don't think I'll ever see Sam again. I'm so sad and lonely. After 7 years, after the sentence had finished, I had the biggest party that I ever had. Today was the day I got to meet Sam again. This was my best day of my life.